In March of 2026, a federal class action lawsuit landed in the Eastern District of Michigan that the HVAC industry does not want you to read. The complaint accuses every major heating and cooling manufacturer in the United States of coordinating in secret to inflate the price of home comfort equipment by 68% in just 6 years. Why does a system that costs $3,200 at a wholesale warehouse show up on your quote as $15,000 installed? And why are the units being installed today engineered to fail in 10 years when the equipment your parents bought in 1985 is still running right now? We are going to expose the price-fixing scheme costing American homeowners billions of dollars and show you the 3 strategies that can save you thousands on your next HVAC replacement. If you have gotten a quote for a new heating and cooling system recently, you might believe you are looking at a competitive marketplace. You get estimates from Trane dealers, Carrier dealers, Lennox dealers, Rheem dealers, and York dealers. You see different logos, different trucks, different uniforms, and different salespeople all telling you they offer the best value in the area. You assume these are independent companies competing to earn your business with better products and lower prices. That is an illusion. The reality is that 6 massive corporations manufacture nearly every brand of HVAC equipment sold in the United States. Carrier Global, Trane Technologies, Daikin, Lennox International, Bosch, and Rheem collectively control somewhere between 70 and 85% of the residential market, and they have spent the last 3 decades buying up every independent competitor they could find, replacing genuine competition with a system of badges, stickers, and price coordination that most homeowners never see. When you get a quote for a Heil system, you are not calling a small regional manufacturer in Indiana. You are calling a dealer for Carrier Global, a publicly traded corporation focused on quarterly earnings. When you choose York over Trane, you are not choosing between competing companies. You are choosing between equipment sold by Bosch and equipment sold by Trane Technologies, 2 corporations with the exact same interest in charging you as much as the market will bear. But the brand shell game is only the beginning. There is a federal lawsuit working through the courts right now alleging these 6 corporations used a trade publication and a shared data application to coordinate price increases worth billions in overcharges to American homeowners. And there is a second story, equally damaging, about how equipment that once lasted 30 years now falls apart in 10. Both stories lead back to the same 6 boardrooms. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do about it. To understand how this happened, you need to understand a practice the industry calls badge engineering. Walk into an HVAC distribution warehouse and you will see units staged for delivery with no branding on them at all. They leave the factory as blank machines, and the brand identity gets applied later, sometimes at the distributor level, sometimes at the job site itself. One technician on an industry forum described it this way. When his local distributor sold Coleman equipment, the box included a set of stickers labeled Coleman, Evcon, Fraser Johnston, and York. Same unit, 4 brand names, 4 completely different price perceptions in the homeowner's mind. The most extreme documented case involves a heat pump currently sold under at least 5 different names: Mercool Universal, Trane Resolute, GE Connect, Napoleon Premium, and AC Pro X Series. Every one of those products comes from the same factory run by a Chinese manufacturer called Gree. Different logo, different dealer, different implied prestige level, same machine coming off the same assembly line. This is not an obscure quirk. It is the structural foundation of a pricing system designed to prevent any meaningful comparison shopping. When you call a Trane dealer and a Carrier dealer and a Lennox dealer, you believe you are getting 3 independent assessments from competing companies. But those 3 dealers are often pulling from the same regional distribution warehouse and installing equipment with identical compressors, coils, and control boards. The Government Efficiency Certificates, AHR, ratings that manufacturers are required to register publicly are routinely identical across brands from the same parent company. You can verify that yourself on the AHRI website right now. Here is what that architecture does to your wallet. A complete 3-ton system, condenser, air handler, and coil costs between $3,200 and $4,500 at wholesale. You can verify that on sites like AC Direct, HVAC Direct, and Alpine Home Air right now. That same system quoted through a standard dealer typically lands at $10,000 to $14,000 installed. In one documented case in New Jersey, a homeowner was quoted $14,837 for a system available online for $5,450. The gap was $9,387 for identical equipment. The reason that gap is possible is a deliberately closed 3-tier distribution system. Manufacturers sell to regional distributors at deep discount. Those distributors hold exclusive geographic territories, meaning you cannot simply call a different distributor for a better price. They then sell only to licensed contractors, who mark up equipment 40 to 100% before delivering you a single bundled figure that blends hardware, labor, and profit into something you cannot break apart and audit. But price gouging is only half the problem. The equipment itself has been re-engineered over the past 2 decades in ways that guarantee you will be back in that exact situation again far sooner than you expect. Your parents' air conditioner lasted 25 years. The one being installed in your home today will last 10 to 15. That is not a coincidence. It is the result of dozens of deliberate cost reduction decisions made in corporate engineering meetings, and every single one of those decisions transfers cost and risk from the manufacturer directly to you. The most visible change is material degradation. A condensing unit built in 1985 used heavy-gauge steel, thick copper tubing, and robust motor windings. Veteran technicians consistently describe older systems as substantially heavier because every component was built with more material. Modern units use thinner copper coils, lighter cabinet frames, and minimum specification components. One longtime technician noted that even the data plate on modern equipment devolved from a thick aluminum tag fastened with 4 screws to a thin plastic sticker. That small detail captures the direction of every engineering decision made in the past 2 decades. But materials are just the first layer. The industry's shift to what are called micro-channel coils, borrowed from the automotive sector, created a paradigm of replacement over repair for the most critical component in any system. Traditional copper coils could be brazed and repaired in the field by any technician with standard equipment. Micro-channel aluminum coils cannot be economically repaired at all. When one section fails, the entire assembly must be replaced at a cost of $1,500 to $3,000. Multiple class action lawsuits document this exact failure pattern. Lennox settled a case alleging defective, uncoated copper evaporator coils were failing prematurely. Johnson Controls faced a virtually identical lawsuit. Carrier is now facing a class action investigation for the same coil failure mode in systems paired with high-pressure R410A refrigerant. Then there are the circuit boards. Older systems had almost no electronics. A motor, a compressor, a capacitor, parts any technician could pull from a supply house shelf and install in an afternoon. Modern high-efficiency systems depend on electronic control boards that cost $350 to $1,300 to replace and typically last only 10 to 15 years. When they fail, the repair estimate approaches the cost of a new system. At that moment, the manufacturer and the dealer share the same preferred outcome, a replacement sale. Here is where it gets worse. The industry has a weapon that forces complete system replacement on a fixed calendar completely disconnected from whether your equipment is actually functioning. That weapon is the refrigerant transition cycle, and it has been deployed 3 times in 30 years. R22 was the standard residential refrigerant for decades. Its production was banned entirely on January 1, 2020. The moment that happened, the cost of recharging an existing system exploded from roughly $20 a pound to as much as $250 a pound. A full recharge that once ran a fraction of today's price now costs between $660 and $2,400. An estimated 39 million American homes had R22 systems at the time of the ban. Every single one of those homeowners was now choosing between an unaffordable repair bill and a brand new system. Before those homeowners finished paying off their replacement systems, the EPA announced the phase out of R410A, the very refrigerant in those replacement systems. Manufacturing of new R410A residential equipment ended on January 1st, 2025. The new refrigerant, R454B, is not a drop-in replacement. It cannot be retrofitted to any existing system. Every R410A unit is now on a depreciation clock, and R454B already faces a greenhouse warming potential review deadline in 2034 that could trigger yet another mandatory transition before a system installed today reaches the end of its natural life. This is a business model. Build components that fail in 10 to 15 years. Phase out the refrigerant before the system finishes its useful life. Mandate new efficiency standards on a rolling basis. The SEER 2 transition in January of 2023 rendered approximately 70% of base tier inventory non-compliant overnight, forcing an entire product refresh at higher prices. The industry trade group, the Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Institute, shaped every one of those transitions. When the Department of Energy proposed eliminating 47 efficiency regulations in 2025, AHRI's president publicly opposed it, not to protect consumers, but because regulations that force product replacement protect the margins of the more than 350 member companies that fund AHRI's operation. And that brings us to what was filed in federal court on March 20th, 2026. The complaint is called Berg versus Robert Bosch LLC. It names 7 manufacturers as defendants: Bosch, Carrier, Trane, Daikin, Lennox, Rheem, and AAON, companies that collectively control over 90% of the residential market. The lawsuit alleges that beginning in January of 2020, these manufacturers coordinated through secret meetings, a shared data application built inside AHRI, and the pages of ACHR News, an industry trade publication used as a price signaling vehicle. The evidence is drawn from Federal Producer Price Index data showing equipment prices rose 68% from 2019 to 2025, while steel and copper, the primary raw material inputs, returned to near pre-pandemic baseline. By 2025, the gap between equipment prices and input costs exceeded 60 percentage points. Lennox's own financial disclosures may be the most revealing evidence in the case. In the third quarter of 2025, Lennox reported record division margins of 22.2%, even as volume fell 23%. The company extracted more profit per unit while selling dramatically fewer of them. In July of 2023, Lennox's CEO described the pricing environment as, quote, disciplined. The lawsuit argues that single word was a signal to competitors. So what does this mean for the person who steps outside on a hot afternoon and finds their system has stopped running? It means you need to stop shopping like a homeowner and start thinking like someone who knows what the equipment actually costs. The first strategy is to buy your own equipment and hire an independent technician. Sites like AC Direct, HVAC Direct, and Alpine Home Air sell contractor-grade systems at wholesale prices. Equipment alone for a standard 3-ton system typically runs a fraction of an installed dealer quote, often $3,200 to $4,500 for hardware that shows up on contractor estimates at $10,000 to $14,000 all in, with independent labor added. Total installed cost generally lands between $5,000 and $7,000. Manufacturer warranties are valid as long as a licensed technician performs the installation, regardless of where the equipment was purchased. Your contractor may tell you otherwise. That is a sales tactic, not a legal fact. The second strategy is the Nearcool DIY mini split. These systems are built specifically for homeowner installation with no license and no specialized tools required. A single zone kit runs between $1,000 and $2,700 at Home Depot. Professional installation of a comparable mini split costs $3,800 to $7,000. The Nearcool compressor warranty is valid for 7 years even on self-installed units. Pre-charged line sets eliminate any need for vacuum pumps or refrigerant certifications. 2 adults and a free Saturday is all the installation requires. The third strategy works regardless of which path you choose. Get 5 written quotes before committing to anything. Specify exact brand, model number, SEER rating, and tonnage on every request. This forces true comparison and exposes the common tactic of quoting different products at different price points to make evaluation impossible. The spread between the highest and lowest quote for identical work routinely reaches $2,000 to $5,000. Schedule in the off-season: spring for cooling, fall for heating, when contractors compete more aggressively. And apply the Section 25C tax credit, which provides up to $2,000 annually on qualifying heat pump installations, and the HIA-HERA program, which offers up to $8,000 for qualifying households. The HVAC industry is counting on you to call one contractor in a moment of discomfort, accept the first number you hear, and never think to ask what the hardware costs at wholesale. Now you know that number before the call. The Berg versus Bosch lawsuit will take years to wind through the courts. But the data it draws on is not proprietary. The producer price index figures are published by the federal government, and the wholesale equipment prices are visible on any parts website today. What is less clear is whether what happened between 2019 and 2025 required active coordination or simply 6 dominant players in a market with no real competition finding the same ceiling at the same time. Either way, the outcome for every American homeowner is the same: higher prices, shorter-lived equipment, and a replacement calendar that keeps repeating. Do not let that continue on their terms. If this investigation changed how you see your next HVAC purchase, hit subscribe. We cover the industries that affect your wallet most every single week.